We've all been in that situation before, when someone says something that sounds like a joke, but it's really meant to put us down. You wouldn't understand this. This isn't really your thing. Oh, you think you're smart, huh? These kinds of phrases don't just sting, they shake you from the inside. Most people in that moment become defensive, get angry, or try to strike back in the same tone. But Stoic philosophy teaches us something deeper. True strength isn't in giving a reaction. It's in how you respond. A calm, composed, and well-thought-out reply can have a far greater impact than a heated argument. Because when someone tries to insult your intelligence, their real goal is to make you look small and make themselves feel superior. But the moment you remain calm and in control, their plan falls apart. In this video, we'll explore 5 clever, Stoic responses you can give when someone questions your intelligence. These aren't just smart comebacks. They are tools to help you become a person who rises above emotion and stands firm in inner strength. So make sure to watch until the end, because the final response is the most powerful one of all. And of course, if you enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with your friends, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next Stoic lesson. Ready? Let's begin. Let's not waste any time and go straight to the first response. That's an interesting thought. How did you come to that conclusion? This simple yet deeply meaningful question is one of the sharpest tools in Stoic communication, because in this reply there's no anger, no sarcasm, no defensiveness. Instead, it carries quiet confidence, calm curiosity, and a powerful message underneath. With this one sentence, you're essentially saying, I respond with reason, not emotion. Now imagine this scenario. Someone tells you, oh, you think you're so smart, don't you? Most people would turn red, rush to defend themselves, or snap back. And what about you? You think you're smarter, but instead you simply smile and say calmly, that's an interesting thought. How did you come to that conclusion? In that instant, everything changes. You're no longer on the defensive, and they're no longer in control. The ball is now in their court. You're not the one explaining yourself, they are. This kind of response has several powerful psychological effects. First, it forces the other person to think. People rarely think before they insult. They speak out of ego, frustration, or insecurity. But when you ask, how did you come to that conclusion? You pull them out of their emotional state and into the realm of logic. And once they're forced to defend their words, they often realize how empty or baseless those words actually are. Second, it shows your composure and self-control. In moments of insult, what truly hurts isn't the insult itself, it's the feeling of losing control. But when you stay calm, curious, and unbothered, everyone around can sense it. You hold the upper ground. Your silence and tone become a display of quiet authority. Third, this phrase shifts focus from ego to thought. You're not saying you're wrong. You're saying, explain how you think. That's the Stoic way of saying, I'm not here to fight, I'm here to understand. And yet, that calm curiosity often becomes a mirror, one that reflects the other person's ego back at them. Because most of the time, they have no real explanation. They laugh awkwardly, change the subject, or retreat. That's the beauty of Stoic communication. It's not about winning arguments. It's about maintaining your inner peace while exposing the emptiness of emotional reactions. When you stay composed in the face of disrespect, you don't just silence others, you rise above them. Fourth, this response elevates you in the eyes of others. Think about what happens around you. Someone tries to insult you, yet you calmly ask, that's an interesting thought. How did you come to that conclusion? The people listening immediately notice the difference. They see that you're not reacting emotionally, you're responding intellectually. In that moment, you don't just appear calm, you appear composed, deep, and intelligent. Now let's go a bit deeper. Why is this response so closely aligned with the spirit of Stoicism? The Stoics taught that it's not the event that hurts us, but the meaning we attach to it. What someone says about you isn't truth, it's merely an opinion. If you don't accept that opinion, it cannot touch your essence. That's why a Stoic person doesn't view an insult as an attack, but simply as information. They ask, why does this person think that way? Not because they care, but because they observe without giving it power. Your response? That's an interesting thought. How did you come to that conclusion? Is a living example of that mindset. It instantly reveals your confidence, emotional balance, and intelligence all at once. Let's see how this works in real-life examples. In the workplace, a colleague says, "You're not very knowledgeable about this topic, are you?" You calmly reply, "That's an interesting thought. How did you come to that conclusion?" You don't defend yourself. Instead, you challenge their claim. And if they can't back it up, their attempt to appear superior collapses under its own weight. Among friends, someone jokes, "Your ideas are always a bit weird." You smile and say, "That's an interesting thought. How did you come to that conclusion?" Everyone around immediately realizes that you took the joke lightly, but also drew a clear boundary. In close relationships, sometimes even someone you love might, intentionally or not, say something belittling. For example, "You don't really understand things like this." Most people would feel hurt, grow distant, or stay upset for hours. But you calmly respond, "That's an interesting thought. How did you come to that conclusion?" In that moment, the other person suddenly becomes aware of how harsh their words sounded. Because you didn't yell, you didn't argue, you simply asked a question. And here lies one of the greatest secrets. Questions carry more power than arguments. A wise person doesn't rush to give answers. They ask the right questions, because the right question forces the other person to face their own contradictions. It may sound simple, but this is a profound life skill. You rise above the level of emotion and move to the level of thought. You set the tone, not the person trying to insult you. So every time you answer calmly and with curiosity, you're not defeating the other person, you're mastering yourself. Because Stoic strength is hidden in silence. And when that silence is combined with a thoughtful question, no insult can truly shake you. The second response, "It was interesting to hear your perspective." This phrase may sound simple, but it carries deep emotional control, confidence, and Stoic wisdom. There's no anger, no defensiveness, and no surrender, and only calmness, stillness, and quiet strength. Sometimes the most powerful answers in life are given with the fewest words. When faced with an insult, a belittling comment, or a sarcastic remark, you say, "It was interesting to hear your perspective." In that moment you pause, not in silence, but in control. What you're really saying is, "I heard you, but your words don't define my worth." That's not just a reply. It's a declaration of emotional freedom. What is the psychological power behind this response? When people try to insult you, they usually have one goal: to provoke a reaction. They want to see you get angry, feel insecure, or become defensive, because your reaction gives them power. But when you calmly say, "It was interesting to hear your perspective," they suddenly feel an emptiness inside. Why? Because you didn't give them the emotional food they were craving. This answer breaks their game. You're no longer one of the players. You've stepped off the stage and are simply observing from the outside. This is one of the main principles of Stoic philosophy. Don't control the event, control your reaction. Epictetus once said, "No one can harm you unless you decide to be harmed." And this phrase is a living reflection of that truth. So what exactly does this response do? It neutralizes the insult. The other person is looking for fuel, something to keep the argument burning. But when you respond with, "It was interesting to hear your perspective," you take that fuel away. Now they can't fight, because you never entered the battlefield in the first place. It shows strength through calmness. People often think quiet means weak, but in truth, silence and calmness require the greatest control. Your stillness says, "I am not easily moved." With this one line, you show emotional discipline, the kind of power that can't be faked. It protects your value. When you argue with someone who insults you, you raise them to your level. But when you simply say, "It was interesting to hear your perspective," your value remains untouched. You don't waste your energy defending yourself. You use it to stay composed. It leaves the other person alone with their own words. This response forces them to reflect. Your calmness creates discomfort within them. They begin to wonder, why didn't they react? Maybe what I said wasn't that important after all. This phrase works like emotional armor. Imagine someone throws harsh words at you, hoping to hit your core, but you raise an invisible shield. Their words bounce off, unable to reach your peace. This is what the Stoics called emotional detachment. You hear, but you don't absorb. You understand, but you don't react. And most importantly, you win silently. The third response. My answer might not convince you, but this is my position. This statement is quiet, yet incredibly powerful. It's neither submission nor aggression. It's the voice of self-assurance, maturity, and emotional control. One of the most subtle lessons of Stoicism is this. You are not obligated to convince anyone. With this response, you're saying, I've shared my view. Whether you accept it or not is up to you. That gives you tremendous freedom, because one of the biggest traps in life is trying to please or prove yourself to everyone. Most people enter arguments forgetting one essential truth. Their goal isn't to discover what's true, it's to win. Someone tells you, your opinion doesn't make sense. You try to explain, justify, bring arguments, but soon you realize they were never listening. They just wanted to dominate, and that's where your phrase fits perfectly. My answer might not convince you, but this is my position. You step out of the game. You stop wasting energy. You protect your peace, your values, and your integrity. This line also means the worth of my thoughts doesn't depend on your approval. You no longer wait for others to decide whether you're right, and reaching this level takes experience, pain, and growth, but once you're there, nothing can shake you. Interestingly, this response also preserves mutual respect. You're not insulting or dismissing the other person. You're simply standing your ground. That's a mark of emotional intelligence. For example, imagine a coworker says, "You're wrong about this topic." In the past, you might have jumped to argue, but now you just say, "My answer might not convince you, but this is my position." That line makes you appear composed, confident, and intelligent. The very essence of Stoic strength. Now let's move to the fourth response. If my intelligence doesn't meet your expectations, that's your problem. This sentence is calm, yet as sharp as a blade. Quiet, but deeply meaningful. Because with these words, you're not just expressing an opinion, you're defending your self-respect. People often judge you based on their own standards of intelligence. If you don't think or act the way they do, they quickly assume something must be wrong with you. But here's the truth. Your values, your thoughts, and your decisions don't have to fit anyone else's expectations. The Stoics said, you can't control what others think, but you can control how you respond to it. So when someone says your way of thinking or deciding doesn't make sense, that's not your problem. It's a reflection of their limited perspective. Imagine this. You're a calm, reflective person who analyzes life deeply. But the person in front of you is shallow, impulsive, and quick to judge, and they accuse you of overthinking. You might feel the urge to question yourself, wondering, maybe they're right. But no, this is where you must stop, because your way of thinking is what makes you unique. It's what defines who you are. This phrase, "If my intelligence doesn't meet your expectations, that's your problem," is a statement of boundaries. It sends a clear message. I'm not changing myself to earn your approval. The power of this response lies in its simplicity. You're not defending yourself nor attacking the other person. You're simply withdrawing your emotional energy and calmly stating your stance. This kind of reaction confuses people because they expect conflict, aggression, or emotional reaction, but you answer with stillness, and that quiet strength often unsettles them even more. Yes, this kind of answer might leave you standing alone. People who don't understand you might distance themselves. But remember this, a person who protects their values never truly loses. Even when they stand alone, your goal is not to please everyone. It's to remain loyal to your conscience, your mind, and your principles. The Stoics believed that inner peace only comes when you remain true to yourself. If you live according to everyone's expectations, one day you'll lose your own identity. That's why this statement is both a declaration of freedom and self-respect. It's like saying, I don't have to be who you accept. I'm the owner of my own thoughts. And when you live like this, no one can easily manipulate you. Because once you stand firmly on your values, people lose the power to change you. Neither criticism nor praise can sway you anymore. And that is where true inner freedom begins. So the next time someone questions your intelligence, your decisions, or your worth, just smile and remember, if my intelligence doesn't meet your expectations, that's your problem. This simple yet powerful sentence radiates a quiet kind of strength. A strength untouched by judgment or doubt. It draws invisible boundaries in every area of your life, in family, friendship, work, and relationships. And never forget, setting boundaries is not arrogance, it's self-protection. This sentence will give you both freedom and inner stability. Now the fifth and final response. Your words can never be greater than my values. This isn't just a reply, it's a life principle. Because protecting your values is the highest form of self-respect. Someone may insult you, misunderstand you, or mock you, but they can't touch your character unless you allow them to. For the Stoics, values are an unshakable fortress. Everyone's opinions, words, and criticisms are like the wind hitting the walls of that fortress. They might make noise, but they can't bring it down. Epictetus said, "It's not the person who insults you that harms you. They have no such power. What harms you is your reaction to what was said." Now think about it. Someone says to you, "You're not smart." If you believe it, their words take root inside you. But if you calmly respond, "Your words can never be greater than my values." It's like you raise an invisible shield. Their words bounce off, unable to reach your core. This response is silent power. You don't yell, you don't defend yourself. You simply show that it's your values, not someone else's opinions, that protect you. It's also a reminder. A person can hide behind their intellect, their knowledge, or their status. But values, honesty, patience, kindness, are what truly reveal who someone is. Because wisdom isn't about knowing a lot. It's about staying true to what's right, even when it makes you look wrong. A person who lives by their values is hard to shake. If you're honest, patient, and fair, no criticism can change you. Their words can't hurt you because your conscience is clean. This response carries a profound message. You're saying, "What you think of me is your opinion, but who I am, only I know that." This doesn't just end a dialogue, it ends the argument. Because after this, the other person can no longer shake you. You defeat them not with words, but with your calm presence. And this is one of the greatest lessons Stoicism teaches. Focus not on what you can't control, but on what you can. You can't control what others say, but you can always choose to stay true to your values. So remember this line every time someone criticizes, mocks, or tests you. Your words can never be greater than my values. This simple idea will give you a mountain of inner strength. Yes, sometimes people will misunderstand you. They'll think you're weak because you stay silent, or afraid because you don't react. But you'll know the truth. Staying true to your values is a far greater victory than winning an argument. Because an argument lasts a moment, but values last a lifetime. Always remember, you're not shaped by others' words, but by your own principles. No matter how many insults you hear, if you carry honesty, patience, and wisdom within, you have already won. And remember this, those who insult you only reveal their own weakness. According to Stoic philosophy, our true strength lies in how we manage our emotions. Your calm, intelligent, and controlled responses will always neutralize the attacks of others. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this message, make sure to subscribe, like, and share the video. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell to stay updated with new content. Until the next video, stay calm, stay strong, stay stoic.